Have you ever pondered why so many people seem to find profound joy in the Psalms, even when life feels mundane or mechanical? What if there's a deeper, more transformative reason behind their words than we often recognize? C.S. Lewis once remarked that the Psalms capture a joy that many of us miss in our daily routines. He observed that these ancient hymns express a delight in God so vibrant that it made King David dance with exuberance. This kind of joy, Lewis suggests, is not just an emotional response but a transformative experience that reveals God's presence in ways that transcend the ordinary. Think about it: when we truly seek God with earnest hearts, He responds with a presence that can lift us beyond the routine and into a realm of profound delight. This is not merely about a temporary feeling but about a lasting transformation. By embracing the Psalm's spirit and seeking God with genuine devotion, we open ourselves to experiencing a joy that is both deep and enduring. Stay with us as we delve further into this transformative joy. Let's explore how you can cultivate this profound sense of divine delight in your own life, allowing God's presence to invigorate and renew you. C.S. Lewis, in his profound exploration of faith, often emphasizes a compelling truth found in the Psalms: the intense longing to be in the presence of God, a yearning that reaches its zenith in the hearts of those who are deeply devoted. This divine craving, articulated so beautifully in the Psalms, is not merely a passive wish but a powerful force that draws the devout closer to the divine essence. Lewis's interpretation of these ancient songs reveals a spiritual depth that aligns with the essence of Christian devotion, where the pursuit of God's presence is the ultimate expression of faith. In his writings, Lewis illustrates how the Psalms serve as a mirror to the soul's deepest desires. The Psalms are not just poetic expressions, they are heartfelt cries for an intimate connection with the Almighty. Lewis points out that this profound longing, often felt most acutely in moments of deep spiritual insight, reflects the height of Christian aspiration. The Psalms reveal a profound truth: God responds to this earnest longing with a divine and transformative presence. Consider Psalm 27, verse 4, which resonates deeply with Lewis's perspective. This verse reveals a soul's passionate plea to dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of their life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to seek Him in His temple. Here, the psalmist's desire is not a fleeting whim, but a lifelong pursuit of divine presence. Lewis, in his analysis, connects this intense yearning to the broader Christian experience, suggesting that such desires are met by God in a tangible, transformative way. The continuous goodness of the Lord, as described in the psalm, is not just a promise but a reality experienced by those who earnestly seek Him. Lewis's reflections on this divine interaction are illuminating. He argues that the Lord's goodness, which manifests so vividly in the lives of the faithful, is a response to their sincere seeking. This divine goodness is not merely a blessing but a transformative experience that redefines one's existence. For Lewis, this constant encounter with God's presence is the pinnacle of Christian experience, a state where divine love and grace permeate every aspect of life. In Lewis's view, the Psalms underscore a dynamic relationship between the human soul and God. The longing to be in God's presence is not a passive experience but an active engagement with the divine. This engagement transforms the seeker, aligning them more closely with God's will and purpose. Lewis's insights remind us that this transformation is a continuous journey, marked by moments of profound connection and spiritual renewal. The Psalms, with their rich imagery and heartfelt expressions, offer a glimpse into this transformative process. They invite believers to cultivate a deep, persistent longing for God's presence, knowing that such desires are met with a divine response. Lewis's work encourages us to embrace this longing, to seek God with a sincere heart, and to trust in the transformative power of His presence. In conclusion, C.S. Lewis's analysis of the Psalms reveals a powerful truth. The deep yearning to be in God's presence is met with His divine goodness and transformative power. This encounter with the divine is not only a central aspect of Christian faith, but also a profound journey of spiritual growth. As we seek God with our deepest desires, we open ourselves to a transformative experience that redefines our lives, drawing us closer to the divine essence that is the heart of Christian devotion. In his profound exploration of spirituality, C.S. Lewis delves into the Psalms, revealing a tapestry of divine connection and fulfillment that resonates deeply with our own spiritual journeys. Lewis frequently draws upon these ancient hymns to underscore how our deepest longings find their ultimate satisfaction in God's presence. This exploration is not merely an academic exercise, but a heartfelt examination of how God's presence profoundly touches and transforms our lives. Each psalm serves as a vivid illustration of this transformative encounter, offering both solace and inspiration to those who earnestly seek Him. Psalm 42 paints a powerful image of spiritual thirst that mirrors our human condition. The psalmist likens his yearning for God to an intense physical thirst, a metaphor that beautifully captures the essence of our soul's deep-seated longing. This imagery is reminiscent of a parched traveler in a desert, desperately seeking water. Similarly, our souls, when parched from life's trials, cry out for the divine presence. Just as water quenches physical thirst, God's presence satisfies our spiritual cravings, providing the sustenance we need to flourish. In moments of deep despair or longing, it is the soothing presence of God that refreshes and revitalizes our inner being. Psalm 50 verse 2 brings to light a more profound dimension of God's beauty. It suggests that God's beauty is not a mere aesthetic quality, but a manifestation of His transformative presence. This verse underscores that when we engage in sincere worship, we invite a divine beauty that reshapes our existence. This transformation is akin to a rough stone being polished into a gem. Our lives, when touched by divine presence, are imbued with new purpose and clarity. As we worship with sincerity, God's transformative beauty becomes evident in our character, attitudes, and actions, reflecting His grace and love in tangible ways. Psalm 63 verse 1 expresses a deep yearning and spiritual dryness that many can relate to. The psalmist's plea for renewal in a dry and weary land symbolizes the profound need for spiritual rejuvenation. This imagery speaks to those times when our spiritual fervor feels depleted and we long for a revival of our soul. In these moments of dryness, God is the living water that renews and restores us. Just as a drought-stricken land eagerly awaits the rains, our souls crave the renewal that only God can provide. Through His presence, we experience a spiritual revival that rejuvenates our spirits and brings us back to a state of vitality and hope. Psalm 65 verse 4 highlights the blessings that God bestows upon those who seek Him with a pure heart. The psalmist's plea for divine favor and abundance is met with an assurance of God's generous response. This verse illustrates that our sincere quest for God is not in vain, rather, it leads to both spiritual and material blessings. It echoes the sentiment of Matthew 7 verse 7, where Jesus assures that those who seek will find. The abundance that follows a genuine search for God encompasses not just material prosperity, but also a profound sense of fulfillment and peace. God honors those who earnestly pursue Him, showering them with blessings that surpass their expectations and enrich their lives in multiple dimensions. And Psalm 84 verse 3 draws a poignant comparison between the peace found in God's presence and the comfort of a bird in its nest. This imagery evokes a sense of tranquility and safety that comes from being enveloped in divine care. Just as a bird finds solace and security in its nest, so too do we find profound peace in God's presence. This verse speaks to the protective and nurturing aspects of God's relationship with us. In the refuge of His presence, we experience a peace that transcends all understanding, a serene assurance that God's care envelops us, providing comfort amidst life's uncertainties. Each of these psalms, illuminated by Lewis's insights, reveals a different facet of our spiritual journey and the blessings that flow from a genuine relationship with God. They serve as timeless reminders of the profound truth that God meets our deepest needs, transforms our lives, renews our spirits, and provides us with a peace that surpasses all understanding. In moments of longing and dryness, in times of seeking and desiring, we are invited to experience the fullness of God's presence. The journey through these Psalms is not just an academic exercise, but a deeply personal exploration of how God's presence profoundly impacts our lives. The divine beauty described in Psalm 50, verse 2, is a tangible experience of God's transformative power. The renewal in Psalm 63, verse 1, is a call to seek spiritual revival, and the blessings in Psalm 65, verse 4, assure us of God's generous response to our sincere quest. Finally, the peace in Psalm 84, verse 3 offers a comforting reminder of the safety and tranquility found in God's presence. As we reflect on these Psalms and their profound truths, let us cultivate a heart of gratitude for the guidance and blessings God has bestowed upon us. In recognizing His presence in our lives, we find the strength to navigate life's challenges, the renewal to overcome spiritual dryness, and the peace to weather any storm. Through these divine gifts, we are continually reminded of God's unwavering faithfulness and His boundless love, which guides us and sustains us through every season of life. In the journey of life, the tranquility found in God's presence is a sanctuary for the weary soul, much like a bird finds solace nestled in its nest, shielded by the tender embrace of its Creator. This divine safety is not merely a fleeting comfort, but a profound, enduring peace that transcends the chaos of our worldly experiences. Psalm 91, verse 1 promises, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty," encapsulating the essence of this profound refuge. It's as though in the stillness of God's presence we are enveloped in a cocoon of serenity, untouched by the tempests that rage outside. C.S. Lewis, in his eloquent wisdom, brings this sentiment into sharper focus by reflecting on Psalm 84, verse 10, which asserts, "For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. Lewis underscores the unparalleled value of even a single moment spent in communion with God, likening it to a treasure far greater than a lifetime spent apart. This divine fellowship is not a mere experience, but a transformative blessing that infuses our lives with meaning and fulfillment beyond earthly measures. It's akin to finding a rare gem amidst a sea of pebbles. Each moment with God is a precious gift that redefines our understanding of joy and contentment. Yet for many, the path to experiencing this divine presence may seem obscured by doubt or despair. Psalm 20 offers a beacon of hope, encouraging us to renew our faith even in the face of unanswered prayers or seemingly insurmountable obstacles. It reassures us that our prayers are heard and valued, even when the answers are not immediately visible. Just as a sculptor chisels away patiently at a block of marble, so too does God work on our lives, shaping and molding us with a purpose that may not always be apparent. The invitation to immerse oneself in God's promises is not a solitary journey, but one best undertaken in unity with others. The collective strength of shared prayer and mutual support amplifies our faith and fosters a community bound by a common hope. This unity and belief echoes the sentiment of 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 11, which urges us to encourage one another and build each other up. In moments of collective prayer and shared faith, we find the strength to navigate the challenges of life and the assurance that we are not alone in our spiritual quest. Furthermore, the notion that divine guidance leads us to such spiritual resources as these reflections and prayers is a testament to the intricate and purposeful design of God's plan. Our paths cross with these messages not by chance, but by divine orchestration, underscoring the belief that God guides us to where we need to be for our growth and healing. This sense of divine direction offers reassurance that our spiritual journey is marked by a purposeful path, crafted with care and intention. C.S. Lewis also offers a poignant analogy that illustrates the nature of answered prayers. He compares the process to the construction of a building initially. The work may appear incomplete or chaotic, yet with patience and faith, the final structure emerges in its intended glory. Just as a building requires time and meticulous effort to rise from its foundations, so too does the fulfillment of our prayers require trust and perseverance. The process may be slow and fraught with uncertainty, but with each passing day, God's promises are being built into our lives, one divine brick at a time. In reflecting upon these insights, it becomes clear that the journey through life, with its trials and triumphs, is enriched by a profound sense of divine peace and purpose. God's presence offers an unwavering sanctuary of tranquility. C.S. Lewis's reflections highlight the incomparable value of this divine communion, and the collective strength of faith and prayer brings us closer to understanding and experiencing God's promises. Each step in our spiritual journey is guided by a loving hand, crafting our lives with intention and grace. And just as a building rises from the ground up, so too does our faith and understanding grow, layer by layer, into a testament of divine love and guidance. In gratitude, we recognize that these experiences and revelations are not mere coincidences, but manifestations of God's active presence in our lives. We are called to embrace these moments with thanksgiving, knowing that each instance of divine guidance and answered prayer is a gift to be cherished. By nurturing this sense of gratitude and unity, we fortify our spiritual foundation, building a life that resonates with the profound peace and fulfillment that only God's presence can provide. In Psalm 20, verse 1, we find a profound plea for divine intervention. May the Lord answer you in the day of trouble. May the name of the God of Jacob protect you. This verse beautifully encapsulates a rich tapestry of faith, power, and divine presence that can significantly enhance our spiritual journey. At its heart, this psalm underscores the transformative nature of invoking God's name, a practice that was deeply understood and valued in biblical times. Names in the Bible were far more than mere identifiers. They were imbued with profound meaning and divine essence. When we call upon God's name, we are not just invoking a title, but are reaching into the very core of His nature and promises. In ancient Israel, a name was considered a reflection of one's essence and authority. Thus, to invoke the name of God is to align oneself with His attributes, His promises, and His boundless love. This principle resonates powerfully through the stories of the Bible, showcasing how God's name brings protection and deliverance. Consider King Hezekiah's desperate plea in the face of impending disaster. In 2 Kings 19, verse 19, amidst the threat of the Assyrian army, Hezekiah turned to God with a heartfelt prayer, requesting deliverance not just for his own sake, but to affirm God's sovereignty. Now, O Lord our God, deliver us from his hand, so that all kingdoms on earth may know that you alone. O Lord our God, Hezekiah's prayer highlights a critical aspect of biblical faith, the belief that God's power is so profound that it is worthy of global recognition. And God responded. By safeguarding Jerusalem and thwarting the Assyrian invasion, God demonstrated His supreme authority and faithfulness. This historical event offers a powerful testament to how calling upon God's name brings forth His intervention and protection. This concept is echoed in the writings of C.S. Lewis, who once remarked, "You can make anything by writing." His statement, while primarily about the craft of writing, can be applied to our spiritual practice as well. By invoking God's name in prayer, we are not merely asking for help, we are actively engaging in a dialogue that can shape our reality. Our prayers, steeped in the divine essence of God's name, have the power to transform our circumstances and deepen our relationship with Him. Lewis believed in the power of the divine narrative to mold and guide us, and this is vividly illustrated in the experiences of biblical figures who sought God's name in times of need. In moments of personal crisis or uncertainty, reflecting on Psalm 20 verse 1 can provide profound reassurance. Imagine a time when you feel overwhelmed by life's trials, perhaps a personal struggle, a health crisis, or a relational conflict. Calling upon God's name in these moments is not simply a ritualistic act, it is an intimate connection with the divine essence that has historically provided solace and resolution. Just as Hezekiah's earnest prayer was met with divine intervention, so too can our prayers be met with God's presence and power. The psalm highlights that God's protection is not arbitrary but is intimately connected with his covenantal relationship with us. The God of Jacob is a title that refers to a God who is not only powerful but also deeply personal. This is the same God who promised to be with Jacob in his wanderings and to bless him abundantly. When we invoke this name, we are calling upon a God who is not distant or detached, but who has walked with his people through every trial and triumph. This assurance of God's presence is a powerful motivator, reminding us that we are never alone, no matter how dire the circumstances may seem. Gratitude towards God for his guidance and protection is a natural outcome of understanding his role as the God of Jacob. Recognizing that he has been a steadfast protector and guide throughout history can fill our hearts with appreciation and trust. It encourages us to approach prayer with confidence, knowing that the same God who answered Hezekiah's plea is attentive to our own struggles and aspirations. In every moment of trouble, Psalm 20 verse 1 invites us to remember the profound significance of God's name and the divine attributes it represents. By doing so, we align ourselves with a legacy of faith that has been demonstrated through ages past. Just as King Hezekiah's trust in God's name led to miraculous deliverance, so too can our trust in God's name lead us to experience his transformative power in our lives today. The psalm calls us to a deeper, more intimate relationship with God, a relationship grounded in the understanding that his name is a fortress of divine protection and an emblem of his unwavering commitment to us. As we navigate our own challenges and seek his guidance, let us remember the power and promise inherent in calling upon the name of the God of Jacob. And let this knowledge inspire a life of profound faith and gratitude. In our journey through life, we often encounter challenges that seem insurmountable, moments when the weight of our burdens feels almost too much to bear. It is in these difficult times that seeking God becomes not just important but essential. God's name, as Proverbs 18 verse 10 beautifully articulates, is a strong tower where the righteous find refuge. This image of God as a protective fortress is more than a mere metaphor. It's a profound truth that offers us solace and security amidst turmoil. It's a powerful reminder of his unwavering faithfulness and enduring power. When we turn to him, we are embracing a divine strength that is both protective and restorative. This strength is not just about physical or material safety, but also about the inner peace and courage that he provides, allowing us to face adversities with renewed hope and resilience. Reflecting on this divine promise brings to mind the profound insight of C.S. Lewis, who once said, "You can make anything by writing." His words resonate deeply with the idea that our narratives, including our moments of weakness, can be transformed by divine intervention. Lewis understood that the trials of life are not merely obstacles but opportunities for spiritual growth and deeper faith. When we seek God in our darkest hours, we align ourselves with a force greater than our own, one that has the power to rewrite our stories with grace and strength. Psalm 20 echoes this sentiment, emphasizing that God's help is especially near when we are at our most vulnerable. The psalmist's plea for assistance from the sanctuary in Zion underscores a profound truth that God's strength is most palpable in our times of need. This idea is vividly illustrated in the story of Deborah, a remarkable figure from the book of Judges. Deborah's leadership, while unconventional for her time, serves as a testament to how God's strength can shine through our weaknesses and limitations. Despite the societal norms that might have deemed her role improbable, Deborah's faith and courage led Israel to a significant victory. Her story is a powerful example of how God's might is often revealed through the very limitations that seem to hold us back. In a similar vein, The Bible offers countless stories of individuals who found their greatest strength in their moments of greatest weakness. The Apostle Paul, for instance, speaks about this in 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9, where he recounts God's message to him, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." This profound declaration is not merely a comforting thought, but a call to embrace our vulnerabilities as avenues through which divine strength is manifested. It encourages us to see our weaknesses not as hindrances, but as opportunities for God's power to be revealed and glorified. Throughout history, believers have testified to the transformative power of divine strength in their lives. The lives of saints, scholars, and ordinary individuals alike bear witness to how God's presence can turn the tide in the midst of adversity. Each testimony, each story, adds a layer to the understanding that God's guidance and strength are not distant or abstract, but deeply personal and present in our lives. When we find ourselves in the midst of trials, it is crucial to remember that we are not alone. God's guidance is a constant, ever-present force that walks alongside us, often in ways we do not immediately recognize. It is through the act of seeking Him, of turning our hearts towards Him in prayer and reflection, that we tap into a wellspring of strength that transcends our understanding. This strength is not just a temporary fix, but a profound, sustaining force that supports us through every difficulty. Our relationship with God is a dynamic and deeply transformative journey. It's a relationship built on trust, faith, and the understanding that His strength is made perfect in our weaknesses. As we navigate the complexities of life, we are invited to lean on this divine support, to seek refuge in His name, and to allow His power to be revealed through our trials. The lessons from Proverbs, Psalms, and the stories of faith leaders like Deborah and Paul all converge to remind us that God's strength and guidance are ever present, especially when we need them the most. And as we embrace this truth, we find ourselves not only surviving but thriving, with a renewed sense of purpose and a heart full of gratitude for the divine support that shapes our lives. In the heart of life's tumultuous journey, the presence of God stands as an unshakable foundation of strength, much like the sacred sanctuary described in Psalm 20. This passage beautifully portrays the sanctuary as more than just a physical place. It represents God's divine presence that bestows true power and fortitude upon those who seek Him. The psalmist's assurance is echoed in the profound truth found in Isaiah 40, verse 29, which promises that He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. This divine empowerment is not merely a promise, but a living reality for anyone who earnestly approaches God. It suggests that within God's presence lies an endless reservoir of strength, waiting to be tapped into by those who are in need. Imagine a time when you felt utterly drained, your spirit faltering under the weight of life's challenges. In those moments of weakness, the temptation might be to surrender to discouragement and despair. However, it's in these very moments that seeking solace in God's presence becomes crucial. Picture a storm-tossed sailor finding refuge in a safe harbor. Likewise, turning to God provides a sanctuary from the tempest of our trials. The power of God, as depicted in the Bible, is not just a distant concept, but an active force that revitalizes and prepares us for the trials we face. As C.S. Lewis profoundly observed, you can make anything by writing. Just as words can shape realities, so can faith in God's omnipotence reshape our inner strength. Belief in God's power ensures that we are never truly alone or powerless, for His strength is a constant and ever-present source of renewal. When thinking about personal experiences and the wisdom of the Bible, it shows that when faced with our own limitations, it is important to seek God's strength rather than resign ourselves to our perceived weaknesses. The biblical narrative frequently underscores that human frailty is not a reason for despair, but an opportunity to experience divine strength. Take the example of Paul and his thorn in the flesh, a burden he prayed earnestly to have removed. Yet God's response was not a simple removal of the affliction, but a profound assurance that His grace is sufficient, and His power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9. This story illuminates a key lesson that our weaknesses are not obstacles to be overcome alone, but are arenas where God's strength can be most profoundly demonstrated. Paul's experience teaches us that our vulnerabilities can become platforms for showcasing divine power and grace. Trusting in God's plan, even when it deviates from our own desires, is another crucial aspect emphasized in this passage. Psalm 20, verse 4 beautifully encapsulates this trust by affirming that God aligns His understanding with our deepest needs and desires. This trust is a call to surrender our personal agendas to a higher purpose. Consider the story of Joseph, who was sold into slavery by his brothers and later imprisoned on false charges. Despite his suffering, Joseph's unwavering faith in God's plan ultimately led him to a position of great influence where he could save many lives during a time of famine. His story demonstrates that God's plans, though sometimes inscrutable and divergent from our expectations, are always oriented towards a greater good and are intricately woven into the fabric of our lives. In every aspect of our journey, from moments of weakness to the challenges of trusting in a greater plan, God's presence serves as our guiding light and unwavering support. The lessons drawn from both biblical accounts and the reflections of great thinkers like C.S. Lewis inspire a deeper understanding and appreciation of God's role in our lives. Each trial, each moment of weakness, and each challenge to trust in God's plan becomes an opportunity to witness His faithfulness and strength. As we navigate our paths, let us remain grateful for the divine guidance that leads us, strengthens us, and assures us that we are never alone. In acknowledging this, we not only find comfort, but are also empowered to face our journey with renewed hope and resilience. In the midst of our struggles, the Apostle Paul's experience, as recounted in 2 Corinthians 12, verse 8-9, offers profound insight. Despite fervent pleas for relief from his afflictions, Paul discovered a transformative truth: my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. This revelation is a cornerstone of faith, illustrating that even when we face challenges and our prayers seem unanswered, God's grace is a sustaining force. His strength is magnified in our moments of frailty, teaching us that our weaknesses can be opportunities for His divine power to shine. This understanding prompts a deep trust in God's plan. When our immediate desires go unmet, we are invited to trust in a grander design. Proverbs 16, verse 9 beautifully captures this sentiment: in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. It's a reminder that our journey, even with its detours and delays, is under divine orchestration. This trust doesn't negate the pain of unfulfilled wishes, but reorients our focus to a greater purpose, which we may not fully understand at the moment. Psalm 20 echoes this sentiment by encouraging us to find strength in our vulnerability and to rely on God's plan. It reassures us that in our weakest moments, God's support is both comforting and empowering. This perspective transforms our prayer life into a deeper, more intimate dialogue with the divine, fostering resilience and faith. God's presence is not a distant abstraction, but a tangible reality. He is a loving Father, actively engaged in our lives, offering guidance and wisdom with perfect timing. This assurance that He listens and responds with unmatched wisdom brings profound peace and joy, affirming that His presence is a constant companion. As we navigate the complexities of life, let us remain grateful for this divine guidance. It is through our challenges and our trust in God's plan that we come to appreciate the depth of His love and the certainty of His direction.